Imagine for a moment of profound stress, maybe something frightening you witnessed. Your heart pounds, your adrenaline surges. Afterwards, someone asks you to identify the person responsible. You remember clearly. You feel certain, absolutely certain who it was. But what if that certainty, that vivid memory, was actually wrong? Welcome. Today we're diving into a topic that sits at the very heart of justice: mistaken eyewitness identification. It's a sobering fact that inaccurate eyewitness accounts are the leading cause of wrongful convictions, accounting for a staggering majority of cases later overturned by DNA evidence. It's not about malice or intentional deceit. It's about the intricate, often surprising, and incredibly fragile nature of human memory itself. And understanding this science is paramount, not just for the legal system, but for all of us. The science behind mistaken identifications isn't just a niche academic interest. It's a critical and actively debated area within our criminal justice system. Organizations like the Innocence Project constantly highlight its significance, revealing stories of lives shattered by an honest yet mistaken memory. And this isn't just advocacy, it's backed by robust scientific consensus, notably highlighted in reports like the 2014 National Academy of Sciences publication, which even the U.S. Department of Justice supports. Our goal today is to bridge the gap between this scientific understanding of memory's fallibility and its practical application in real-world legal proceedings. So let's begin by understanding why our memories, despite feeling so real, can sometimes lead us astray. The first foundational concept is memory's incredible malleability and fragility. Think of your memory not as a perfect video recording that you can rewind and play back exactly as it happened. Instead, it's more like a story you're constantly retelling and refining. Each time you recall an event, your brain doesn't retrieve an exact copy. It reconstructs it, often filling in gaps, making it susceptible to subtle distortions and external influences. Factors like intense stress, the trauma of an event, even just the passage of time can significantly degrade the accuracy of our recall. Psychologists categorize the influences on eyewitness accuracy into two main types. First, we have what are called estimator variables. These are factors completely outside the control of the criminal justice system. They existed at the time of the event itself. For example, consider the viewing conditions. Was it dark? How far away were you? How long did you actually see the person? These are crucial. Then there are witness factors. How stressed were you? Did you experience what's known as the weapon focus effect, where your attention is so fixated on a weapon that you miss details about the perpetrator? Or what about cross-racial identification bias, where people sometimes find it harder to accurately identify individuals of a different race? And of course, there's memory decay, which often sees a rapid decline in detail and accuracy shortly after an event. These are simply how our brains work under pressure. They're not weaknesses, but fundamental aspects of human perception and memory. But here's where we move from understanding the problem to exploring the solutions. While we can't change what happened during an event, we can control how information is gathered afterwards. This brings us to system variables, factors within the control of law enforcement and the justice system. Improving these procedures is central to reducing misidentifications. One of the most critical system variables is how lineups are administered. Think about it. If a witness is shown a lineup, whether live or photographic, the way it's presented can profoundly influence their choice. For instance, witnesses must be explicitly told that the perpetrator may or may not be present in the lineup. This seemingly simple instruction prevents the witness from feeling pressured to pick someone, anyone, just because they're in the lineup. Another crucial aspect is the selection of fillers, the innocent individuals in the lineup alongside the suspect. These fillers should resemble the witness's description of the perpetrator, so that the suspect doesn't unfairly stand out. If the suspect is the only person who fits the general description, it subtly yet powerfully pushes the witness towards them. Perhaps the most significant reform is the concept of a double-blind lineup administration. This means the officer administering the lineup should not know who the suspect is. Why? Because even unconscious cues, a nod, a slight change in tone, a momentary glance, can inadvertently influence a witness's choice. It's not about intentional manipulation, but about human nature and preventing subtle suggestion. While vital, implementing double-blind procedures can sometimes face logistical challenges or resistance, but the scientific evidence for its effectiveness is incredibly strong. And what about confidence? A crucial finding is that an eyewitness's confidence in their identification often poorly correlates with its actual accuracy, especially when that confidence is inflated by post-identification feedback. Imagine a detective saying, "Good job, you got him."
That seemingly innocuous comment can boost a witness's confidence, making them believe their initial uncertain memory was rock solid, even if it wasn't. This is why reforms advocate for documenting a witness's initial confidence immediately after the identification, and verbatim, before any feedback can contaminate it. That initial, unadulterated confidence can be far more informative than confidence expressed days or weeks later. We also know that our minds are susceptible to cognitive biases. When perception is uncertain, individuals naturally fill memory gaps based on prior experiences or expectations. Confirmation bias, for example, can cause witnesses to unconsciously seek information that supports an initial identification, further solidifying their confidence in a potentially mistaken choice. Despite this robust scientific understanding, there are ongoing debates. For instance, researchers have long explored whether presenting suspects simultaneously, all at once, or sequentially, one after another, is superior. While early lab studies lean towards sequential lineups, more recent field studies have complicated the picture, leading the National Academy of Sciences to conclude that, for now, there isn't enough research to definitively recommend one over the other. The key takeaway, however, remains: the method matters immensely. The biggest challenge, perhaps, is bridging the persistent gap between what science tells us about memory and how eyewitness testimony is handled in the courtroom. Juries tend to heavily value confident eyewitness testimony, even when scientific evidence suggests confidence can be a poor indicator of accuracy. The legal standards for admissibility of eyewitness testimony, often dating back decades, frequently predate modern scientific understanding, making widespread reform a slow and arduous process.
Ultimately, understanding the future outlook behind mistaken identifications isn't about casting doubt on every witness or diminishing the profound trauma they've experienced. Instead, it's about recognizing the inherent limitations of human memory and perception, especially under stress, and then empowering our justice system with the tools and procedures to mitigate those risks. By applying this knowledge, we can significantly reduce wrongful convictions, enhance the reliability of eyewitness evidence, and ultimately build a fairer, more just system for everyone involved. Thank you for joining me on this important exploration.